Revelation chapter 21 and verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. I want to give all infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and sincerity. They steered us well, and they rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. May the blessing of election be upon your house. This is the brother Zion Amawan coming at you with another lesson. Defeat the lambs through the Holy Spirit. Haracha'a Kodash. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. In this lesson, we are going to get into a new heaven and a new earth. All right? A new heaven and a new earth. You know? This is what we are anticipating. This is what we are expecting, is a new heaven and a new earth. And we patiently waiting, man. You know? Sometimes it'll get to the point where it's like, how long? You know, that's how I feel right now. How long, Yahweh Shema Shai? You know? How long? But prophecy, all right, is walking off the page. Prophecy is exactly where it needs to be, you know? And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, which is going into what? A new regime, a governing body. Okay? You have to understand what heavens mean and what the earth mean. It's going to be a new regime. It's going to be a new heaven. Okay? It's going to be a new ordinance, a new structure. Okay? Because understanding the heavens is a lofty position. You know, you're at the top. You know, you're going to be refreshed. You know, new is going into refresh. You're going to be refreshed. And how are you going to be refreshed? By having a new body, an indestructible body, a body that don't get sick, that don't get old, that don't feel pain. You're not going to cry no more. None of that. You know that, you know, all the pain and turmoil and affliction you go through now, even the afflictions with the body, you're not going to go through that. You know? Our bodies are fragile. You know? Our body can get defeated by elements. If you examine a drain pipe, or if you examine, you know, metal, you can get defeated by a metal rod. You can be defeated by the elements that Yahweh Shema Shai have created. So this indestructible body, you'll be able to control those elements. All right? Revelation 21 and 1, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. All right? So that new heaven and that new earth is going to be the new regime, the governing body under Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, under complete righteousness. Okay? Because if you examine what goes on this side, it's full of evil, pollution, wickedness. Okay, and it's praised. It is put on the forefront. You know, that's going to be completely disannulled, man. In the kingdom, when these other nations break the law, statutes, and commandments, because the law, statutes, and commandments is going to be the standard in the entire earth. This is when the people are going to rejoice, when the righteous are in authority. And who is going to rejoice? Israel. Israel is going to rejoice, man. Look at how Jake is now. Jake is in mourning. Jake is just face long. Even the heathens. Even the heathens got the long face. The animals, they got the long face. Everything is in mourning. Everything lost stature. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Israel is going to be at a perpetual standing position in the kingdom of heaven. We're not going to be Lazarus at the gate anymore, covered in sores. And those sores are the curses, man. We're not going to be covered in sores anymore, man. We're going to be in that lofty position. The house of David, starting with the 144,000. Because you're going to have Yahweh Shai, the 12 disciples, the 144,000. Moses, he going to have a throne. You know, Jeremiah going to have a throne. You name it. But this entire wicked system is going to be completely a wrap. You know, what do they say in Looney Tunes? That's all, folks. It's over. Second half, it says, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away. That first earth and first heaven is this right here, what we living in right now, under the rulership of Esau Edom, which is the self-proclaimed white man. We're under his current rulership, because this is a heaven for Esau, but a hell for you. And when you go into that word hell, hell is Sheol in the Greek, Shawa'al in the Hebrew, which means a low condition of hardship, man. You know, you have a low condition of hardship in this first earth and first heaven, but it's going to be passed away. And how is this first earth and first heaven going to be passed away? By thermonuclear fire, man. All right. That great noise, controlled fire from the chariots too. It's going to be completely passed away. Ultimately by Yahweh Shai. But it's going to be that great noise, man, which is the missiles. That's going to end this place. That is what's going to make it passed away. And there was no more sea. You see? IUIC said that it's going into, it ain't going to be no nations and nothing like that. That's going off. Because no more sea is going into what? No more people is going to rise up. There isn't going to be a nation that's going to rise up into power again other than Israel. Because when you go into Revelation 21 and you read down, it's going into 12 gates. And those 12 gates, 12 angels. You know the rest. Why it ain't 18 gates? Ain't there 18 nations on the earth? Why is there only 12? Because it's going into the 12 tribes of Israel, man. Why it ain't 18 gates? Because the true lofty position and that new regime was set aside and set for and preserved for Israel, man. Yashar Allah. You know? So when the scriptures say there was no more sea, that there was no more nations that's going to rise up into power. Verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem. And a city and Jerusalem is a people before a place first. It's a people before a place. All right. So this is going into the governing body. This is going into the elect. All right. Coming down from the Most High Yahweh out of heaven. All right. So this is after the destruction. When the dust is, settled. All right. Steam is still coming up off the ground. You may have a little fire there. You may have a little bundle of fire there. All right. Still smoking. Jake gonna get beamed down. Jake is gonna descend from the heavens that's above the ozone layer in the fathership. They gonna get descended down. Lord willing, we are part of that number. Get descended down. All right. to the earth. But it ain't going to be like how we are now, though. You're going to have power. Omnipotent power. Omnipotent energy. You know? You're going to be charged up like Goku. Like Vegeta. Like, you know, Dragon Ball Z. Superman. Hancock. They, you know what I mean? They show you the movies. All right? Because they get all of that from the scriptures. You're going to get, you're going to descend down with that download, man. With the cheat codes to the elements. Like The Last Airbender. Every Marvel character roll up into one, man. You're going to be like a mini Most High. You know? So no other nation is going to rule again when it goes back to there was no more sea. So no nation going to rule again, man. You're going to be charged up. Because if you go to the scriptures about Isaiah 40 and 31, the scriptures say we're going to mount our wings as eagles, man. We're going to run and not faint. Jake going to be charged up. And then that's when the fishers are going to be hunters at that point. You see what I'm saying? So only Israel is going to rule. It is only for Israel. Israel is going to rule forever, indefinitely. It ain't going to be nobody after. Thus saith Yahweh Shema Shai, in complete righteousness. You know? You know? Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, starting with these elite banking families. You know, like the Rothschilds, you know, the Rockefellers, all right, Bilderbergs, you name it. They are the climax. They are the perfection, you know, of all of these heathen nations ruling. They the end. You know? They're not going to rise up in the power no more. So that new heavens and new earth is that regime, Israel, ruling in righteousness. With the most perfect structure. The most perfect ordinance of what the world needs. Or what the universe needs. And then that's when we can start living. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and sincerity. They steered us well and they rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. May the blessing of election be upon your house. We on the next one. Aparatazah. Shalom.